The biggest winners and biggest losers from this offseason so far. We'll start with the biggest trade being Giannis getting traded to the Heat. For the Heat side, they kind of just had to do a trade because they've been stuck in mediocrity for so long. They just have to take a risk and blow up the team. When are you going to get a guy like Giannis? But as of right now, I will lean towards that they are winners, but time will tell. And I mean, kind of the same thing for the Bucks. Time will really tell because we kind of got to see what they flip Tyler Hero for, what they get back, or even a guy like Jaime Jaquez, what their picks turn out to be. Next team we'll go to is the Hornets. They've done two pretty big trades. One of them being sending LaMelo off to the Timberwolves and only getting 3 pick swaps, Naz Reid, and unprotected first round pick, which I don't think, like, they could easily got more for LaMelo. Just getting Naz Reid when, you know, they've looked the best they've looked ever just last season, and now they're kind of getting rid of their second option, which, yes, I get that they're counting on Khan and Brandon Miller to be those two main guys, but still, you could have got more for LaMelo. And then the other trade being Miles Bridges getting traded to the Suns for Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen. That's another trade that I don't really understand. Like, Grayson Allen, yeah, he'll be pretty good for shooting. So is Royce O'Neal, but you know, you got shooters already, and Miles Bridges can just do way more with the basketball. With all that being said, I do think they improved the record next season, but I still do think they lost those trades. Next, we got the Timberwolves. I mean, starting off with, they just got rid of Julius Randle, which I think they could have honestly got a little bit of something. I get his contract's not amazing, but I mean, just a year ago, it was looking like they won the Cat trade, and now they just dumped him off for nothing, which I get they did that to get LaMelo, but I still think you could have got something for him, especially the fact that you gave up Karl Anthony Towns to get him in the first place. But overall, I get the situation they were in, and they pretty much got rid of Julius Randle and Naz Reid to get LaMelo, which I wouldn't say is a bad deal because they had to try something else. They've just been making pretty good runs in the playoffs, but not making it all the way. I would say they're winners so far. Next, we got the Phoenix Suns. Honestly, I love this trade for them, getting Miles Bridges, sending off Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal. They still got a pretty deep roster. Their bench is honestly pretty stacked, but the only thing about the Suns is I feel like they're always going to be stuck between that 5th seed and that 10th seed. They're a really good team, but they're in a really hard West, and it's going to be really hard for them to compete with anybody. And honestly, like, they could surprise a lot of people and go on a pretty decent playoff run, but it's just, I feel like they need another guy that's either 1B or 1A. Like, D-Book's good enough, but when his second option is Jalen Green, which is not going to be consistent the whole playoff run, you just know that he might drop 41 game and then he'll go down and shoot some horrible efficiency. I just really think they're going to be stuck in the middle, and that's kind of what it's been for them. I've been surprised with how they rebuilt so far, because they really messed themselves up trading for KD, and now they're actually looking somewhat decent from what they built out of that, but I still don't see them doing anything. The best bet for them would probably be to trade Booker, even though he's their franchise player, and just rebuild fully, because I think they're just going to be stuck in the middle for so long, especially when $20 million of your cap space is going to a guy like Bradley Beal, who is not even on your team. Next, we got the OKC Thunder. They're obviously losers because they lost Isaiah Joe and they lost Aaron Wiggins, and they didn't really get anything back in return, but they had no choice. They're over the second apron. It's kind of like the Celtics in 2025 when they had to blow up the team, sending off Drew Holiday, sending off Porzingis, and only getting like nothing back for Porzingis. They didn't have a choice. It was either they lose those two guys or they lose other players, and they're probably gonna have to trade off more players because they're over the second apron. But it is what it is. They're losers, but they had no choice. Next, we have the Atlanta Hawks, which they got Aaron Wiggins, which is just an amazing pickup. You pretty much got him for free, and he's a guy that we could see him winning most improved player. He's just never fully had that chance in OKC like he will have in Atlanta, because OKC is just so deep. So that is definitely an amazing pickup. And then they go and pick up Devin Carter for pretty much free again, which he's just an amazing hustle guy and a two-way guy, and he's only 24 years old. Of course, his shooting, he could work on that, but outside of that, he's an amazing pickup. They might be the biggest winners so far this offseason. Then we got the Detroit Pistons, which I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. They've traded 2 second-round picks for Isaiah Joe, which is just amazing, but then they also gave up Isaiah Stewart for 3 second-round picks, which I have no clue why they're doing that, especially when Jalen Duren might not be returning, and Isaiah Stewart was their second center. So now they lost their first and second center possibly, which is just a mess. So overall, I would honestly say they're losers. Then we got the Memphis Grizzlies, which they started off getting Isaiah Stewart, which was a decent pickup. At the same time, it doesn't really make sense because he's not going to be really doing anything there right now. They are obviously trying to rebuild because that Ja era is done, which leads us into the second trade where they give up Ja Morant. And I know his stock was really low, but they don't get anything back in return. They just get a horrible contract back and Chris Murray, which, I mean, the reason you're trying to get rid of Jaw is because you don't think he's your guy anymore. He's causing a lot of problems, and he has a pretty high contract. But you don't get anything in return, which, like I said, I know his stock is low, but let him play a few games, get his stock back up, and then trade him. To me, the Grizzlies are the biggest losers so far this offseason. Then we have the Portland Trailblazers, which they picked up Jaw, and they really just got rid of a bad contract and Chris Murray, which they couldn't care less about. So it's obviously an amazing pickup. But the only thing I will say about it is they're very deep at the guard position now. They have Shaedon Sharpe, John Morant, Damian Lillard, and Drew Holiday. They obviously need to trade one of those guys and get something else in return, but they seem pretty happy to have those 4 guys. So I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do there, but they're definitely winners so far this offseason. The last team is the Chicago Bulls. They got Nick Claxton for free, which is a good pickup. Nothing crazy. I'll say they're winners. He's not going to really change anything crazy. He's just a decent pickup. Well, right after I finished making this, Kawhi got traded to the Raptors officially. So that trade I'm kind of iffy about. The Raptors gave up a lot for like a 35-year-old guy. They gave up a lot. Like 2 picks and a pick swap is just a little bit too much, I think. But hey, if they end up winning a championship, that just goes straight out the window.